What's going on, everybody? Welcome in Fantasy Alarm live stream. I'm your host, Howard Bender. With me here, Jon Impemba, talking conference championship games for NFL. That's right. Patriots, Chiefs, Saints, Rams, top four teams from the playoffs are now here in the conference championships. We're going to look at this from a DFS perspective for the most part here. Because, it's obviously interesting, short slate and conference championship. Picking and choosing here. I'm going to keep my glasses on and the glare here, so sorry about that, everybody. But in case you have questions, pop them into the chat rooms. Yep. We're live on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook, so give us a shout and we'll help through. Jon, what's going on, man? Your Patriots are in it. You got a dog in this race, but you don't seem too happy about it.
Well, I always have a dog in this race, Howard. It's the NFL season. It's the playoffs. The Patriots are. It's like they talk a lot around here that it's their birthright, essentially, to be in the AFC Championship game because they've been in the AFC Championship game pretty much every year.
8 years in a row, dude. Not every year.
Pretty much.
9 years ago, they weren't there.
That was the Castle year, right? Or is that not the Castle? Or is that the? Doesn't matter. Regardless.
Exactly, right? You're blocking it out.
Yeah. But I am not, again, I haven't been confident in this Patriots team pretty much all season long. And whenever I have come on this live stream and gone against them, they have won. I, again, don't feel confident here against them going on the road, the AFC Championship game. Kansas City's been the best team all season. They've had the best offense all season. They had the league MVP at quarterback. All of these reasons make me think that the Chiefs are going to win. But last week, I was expecting the Patriots to lose. And they not only won, they won in an impressive fashion against San Diego, or Los Angeles. Continue to call them San Diego, Los Angeles. So now I don't know. Is that the Patriots team we're going to see this week? Or is it the fact that Los Angeles made zero adjustments all game and let James White and Julian Edelman do whatever they wanted? They found all the open gaps in that zone defense, which they never adjusted, and Tom Brady picked them apart. So I'm confused about what I saw last week because it's been the best I've seen them play all year. It's also the playoffs, and this is sort of what I expect the Patriots to look like in the playoffs. So I don't know.
Well, that's just clear as mud, my friend. That's clear as mud right there. All right, well, let's break it down a little bit more here. All right, so one of the things, and I said this on the stream last week, is that to neutralize the pass rush for the Chargers, you needed to just plow it up the middle with Sony Michel and or short passes with our guys again with James White and Julian Edelman. Exactly what happened, exactly what they needed to do. Yeah, no, the Chargers didn't make the adjustments in the second half, and they just let them, nickel dime them up and down the field the entire time. The question is now the keys to the keeping the Chiefs at bay, and that to me says long, sustained drives. You got to keep Mahomes off the field as much as possible, and for that, it's pounding that run again. So, I wonder if that's really if it's really that simple because last week what was it? The Patriots they won the toss and then they agreed to receive the ball, which they never do. And then when I watched that first series where they marched down the field, what was it, 76 yards? I was like, this is exactly what they want. They just ate up half the first quarter. They jumped out to a 7-0 lead here. One defensive stop and then another drive like that. And you're taking a lot of the wind out of the sails there for Phillip Rivers, and he's sitting there chilly on the sidelines. Oh, my God, it's so cold. Yeah. So now I'm curious as to whether or not you think that that's really the way to go here for the to keep Mahomes on the side.
It should be. The thing is, as we've seen, I'm not worried about really the Patriots' offense scoring as much as I'm worried about their defense stopping Mahomes, and we saw this game earlier. It was what, a 43-41 game or something like that. Super high scoring, back and forth. Last team with the ball is the team that won. So, I don't know if the Patriots are able to stop them. Now, the one key fact here, and I know Damian Williams has played really well, but Kareem Hunt had torn apart the Patriots in the last game and then last season as well. Kansas City's very fast team. Patriots are not a fast defense. Getting a guy like Kareem Hunt off the field takes away some of that speed. Now they really only have to worry about Tyreek Hill as the burner, not worrying about dealing with Hunt and Hill at the same time. So, that's definitely an X factor. Again, I know Williams has been really good, but even with his production, he still scares me less than if Kareem Hunt was back there.
I mean, to me, yeah, he's obviously not as talented as overall as a running back as Kareem Hunt was, but for the same token, it's about preaching the system as opposed to preaching the player.
Sure.
Because we've seen multiple examples of it, and it cracks me up that people are still anti-handcuffing when you look at what went down, and this is what happened with the Chiefs. If you had Kareem Hunt and you handcuffed him to Spencer Ware, fine. Once Spencer Ware became the number one guy, if you handcuffed him to Damian Williams, you're great. Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs haven't missed a beat here at all in their ground game. We saw it with the Rams. We saw when Todd Gurley went down, C.J. Anderson stepped in, and he's been ridiculous, like insanely ridiculous.
Right.
And so now the question, I mean, I don't necessarily know if I don't worry about Damian Williams. I mean, the system is what it is, and Damian Williams has shown just as much explosiveness now as Kareem Hunt did. I don't think it's kind of funny. I kind of feel like Hunt is a better pass catcher out in the flat.
Yeah, and like I said, that's really where he burned them. He was able to get him these wheel routes, and really he was a mismatch for the linebackers. They just could not run with him, and he just had huge games against the Patriots. He had over 100 yards receiving in that game earlier this year, I think, against them. So again, him not being there, I think, is a factor. And the other thing is you have to keep Mahomes sort of in the pocket. You can't let him run around back there because, you get in this coverage and maybe you think you have everybody all covered. And all of a sudden he's running for 15 yards and the play's broken up that way. So he just adds a different element that, the Patriots didn't have to deal with last week with Rivers, who is a pocket guy. They're able to rush the middle. They're able to get to him, the pressure. If you run up the middle against Mahomes, he's going to run to the outside, get around the edge, and all of a sudden now the play's like a free-for-all. Everybody's scrambling. The receivers are all just crisscrossing, and Mahomes probably running. So it's going to be a very interesting game. I think the weather's going to have a lot to play with. We talked about it just before we jumped on air. They're expecting single digits with wind chill. We could be playing in 0-degree weather in this game. Who does that benefit more? We obviously know up in New England, they have a pretty tough winter. They play in the cold all the time. Belichick is notorious for making his players practice in the cold. They have a huge dome bubble, but Belichick doesn't let them use it during the winter. He makes them practice outside to get acclimated to the weather, get them used to it. Part of the lore of being a Patriot, you're prepared for everything. How does Mahomes and how does the Chiefs deal with playing in that cold weather? The Patriots are used to it. If they're not used to playing in that cold weather, maybe that impacts them too. Who knows?
Well, for the most part, I would say, I mean, maybe not Mahomes, so to speak, because this is his first year really taking control of the team. But you look at the rest of the team there. I mean, Kansas City's deals with their weather issues on a regular basis too, whether it's the snow, whether it's the rain. Is it like the Northeast? No, but for the same token, it can be just as punishing. Let's look at this then. Let's talk about it from a daily standpoint here. It's a 2-game slate, so you want to you obviously want your big guys in there, but you're going to have to find certain ways to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. Let's start on the KC side. You've got Tyreek Hill, you've got Travis Kelce, you've got Damian Williams as your top three guy, Mahomes obviously, but then you've got your fringe guys, your Chris Conleys, you've got Demetrius Harris as a rando possibility. Sammy Watkins also becomes kind of an interesting play. Besides the chalk guy, or even, I mean, tell me what you think of the chalk guys here. Are you, like, if you're building a lineup, do you feel the need that you're going to have to get Tyreek Hill in there? Do you feel the need that you're going to have to get like a Travis Kelce in as your tight end?
Yeah, so I think just based off the way this 2-game slate is, you have to go Kelce because there's really no other tight end. It's weird saying there's no other tight end, but unless Gronk's been playing possum for the entire season. I know he had his one good game this year sort of was one of the games against Kansas City. He had 97 yards, but 42 of those yards came on the final drive, that one breakout play where Kansas City basically forgot about him and he got all those yards. So I think you have to pay up for Kelce just because everybody else is probably paying up for Kelce, unless everybody decides to spend down. You don't want to be the guy without Travis Kelce. So yeah, I think you have to pay up for him on this 2-game slate. And that Sammy Watkins, I know Tyreek Hill is going to get a lot of ownership as well, but I think Watkins is going to pose probably an issue as well for the Patriots on the outside. We saw Mike Williams have a really big game, against the Patriots the other on Sunday. So I think a lot of the focus is going to be on stopping Hill and stopping Kelsey, and that could leave Watkins open. He's only $4,000 on FanDuel. I mean, DraftKings rather. So that's a really good price tag. So I think I'm going Watkins. I'm going Kelsey.
The Watkins play I get, but I mean the Kelsey play, yeah. I mean, do you think that? Like, here's the thing: is the question is that when you look at this and you look at the matchup and you look at knowing what Belichick does, and he's going to try and take Kelsey out of the game, or he's going to try and take Tyreek Hill out of the game. He's going to, he's going to do that. That's his MO. So does it pay to just save the salary there and then just kind of hope that you get that rando Ben Watson touchdown or the Tyler Higbee special where it's like one catch for 8 yards and a touchdown?
No, I'm paying up. In my opinion, they're going to prevent against the big play, and I think they're going to make sure that Tyreek Hill doesn't burn them. And they're going to probably stick Patrick Chung on Kelsey, and Chung is not a good coverage safety. He's more of a run stopper. They'll probably bump Kelsey with the linebacker. But the linebackers, maybe Van Noy is able to run with Kelsey a little bit, but I think ultimately they're okay with. I can't say they're okay with giving up Kelsey yards, but they're more worried about Tyreek Hill going for an 80-yard touchdown, I think, than they are, Kelsey getting the 15, 20-yard play. I think they can play better to defend Tyreek Hill and they'll be okay with Kelsey moving the ball.
Okay. All right. Listen, I can dig that. So tight end, we're kind of locking down Kelsey just because there are a lack of other options. I like the Sammy Watkins pay down for Kansas City. What about on the other side of the ball there for the Patriots? Again, Sony Michel's going to run. James White's going to get his looks. Julian Edelman's going to get his. Do you like some of those chalky guys, or do you tilt to like a Philip Dorsett and try and hope that you differentiate yourself a little bit?
I mean, you can. I don't think Dorsett. I mean, again, if you're this type of slate, you have to probably definitely be different, and it's very encouraging that the last 2 weeks the Patriots have played, we've seen 10 total targets out of Dorsett, 4 catches for 5 yards, got touchdowns in both of those games against the Chargers and Jets. They're working him back in. He's been reliable all season. It's kind of disappointing. Josh Gordon came on, and then they just basically stopped throwing to everybody else but Josh Gordon and Julian Edelman, it seemed like. But everybody else is still playing pretty well. So I can go with Dorsett if you want to go there. I think James White is an absolute must. We talked a lot about towards the end of the fantasy season how it seemed like the Patriots were saving White for the playoffs because they knew they were going to rely on him. I mean, sure enough, first game of the playoffs, he goes and catches 15 passes on 17 targets. Now, granted, the Chargers were one of the worst teams against defending the running back against the pass, but the Chiefs are pretty bad too. So, are they going to have anybody that's going to be able to handle James White? I know this isn't, the wager alarm show, but right now White's catches are at 5.5 and 47.5 total yards.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show today. I'm like, how is the over under 5.5 catches for White?
Yeah, he had that in the first quarter of the other game. So unless the thing is, like, if they're going to scheme to stop James White, that's going to open up a lot because they're going to have to move guys into the flat to guard him. They're going to have to play some sort of zone. The linebackers aren't going to be able to run with him. So White is a lock for me in this line. He's Brady's safety blanket. He's going to get everything. And if the Patriots are down and the Chiefs play a softer defense, then he's going to catch passes in that time too. So I'm in on James White 100%.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, we can find there's got to be a ton of value at wide receiver, really. Just when you take a look at what the Saints-Rams have in their game, because I mean, for the Saints, you've got Michael Thomas. Even Ted Ginn is still priced fairly respectfully there. You've got Kirkwood as an option there. Traquan Smith is an option over there. On the Rams side, there's always Josh Reynolds.
Who?
Traquan Smith, dude.
Traquan Smith.
What did you think I said?
No, I heard what you said.
Oh, okay.
You're going back to Traquan Smith again?
I'm throwing it as you can laugh about that, but you know what? Listen, if Traquan Smith wins me a GPP this week, dude, because he catches a touchdown, what are you going to do then with that 1.3% ownership?
I think he did it for you one time, and that will be the only time. So
it could very well be.
Thank him for that week, and then move on.
No, he did have a touchdown like a couple of weeks later where I actually used him again also. Maybe I'm the Traquan Smith whisperer, huh?
Yeah, it could be. We could start calling you that if you want.
Oh, no.
I like Ginn, though. I like the Ginn call. Here's what's a little bit surprising to me is that Jared Goff is the lowest priced of the 4 quarterbacks in the matchup against New Orleans. I think everybody's going to play him. I think that is the chalk. Because if you're going to try to spend up at all the skill positions, it makes sense just to spend at the lowest quarterback, who has probably one of the best matchups, and he has all of the weapons at his disposal. So, and he had a really good game. It wasn't in that first one against New Orleans, and he threw for 391 yards and 3 touchdowns in the dome. So I mean, it's kind of climate controlled. It's a track. They have guys like Cooks and Woods that can run on that field. Revenge game for Cooks if you wanted to. Throw that little narrative out there.
You know what? We could have done that the last time, but what did Cooks do the last time that these two teams faced off? Like you throw Marshawn Lattimore on him.
He had 6 for 114.
Did he have 6 for 114 the last time?
Yeah, and a score.
Oh, okay. I that's why I was asking you what did he do the last time.
I thought you were saying that he didn't do something.
No, because I was looking at prop bets and Cooks I was checking out. Cooks hasn't gone over 65 yards in any of his last 6 games.
That's true.
Probably going to have Lattimore on him. I'm a little bit more on Robert Woods just because of that matchup with PJ Williams. I think that's that could end up being the bread and butter. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe a second revenge game narrative for Brandon Cooks here because it's the playoffs.
I'm a narrative guy too. So anytime I can sort of see these things, I kind of get. I get too much into them. So
we've had a couple of narratives over the last couple of weeks where I can't remember who it was, but it never worked out. But it was like a really distant narrative there. Yeah. I was like really stretching for it.
That's fine.
I remember when his dad was at the Steelers game, sitting in the front row. All right, so let's talk about the Saints' value then. You like Ginn.
Yeah.
Not interested in Traquan Smith.
Nope.
Keith Kirkwood.
So he didn't practice today, so he's questionable.
Okay.
So if he is active, sure. And again, I know you have to differentiate because this is the 2-game slate. There's just a lot of risk in those players, and again, we've talked about this a lot. I'm not the type that loves these boom or bust plays, so I'm going to try to find the guys with the highest floors as I possibly can, and I'll live with lower ceilings if I'm just sort of guaranteed points. So when Kirkwood needs a touchdown on one of his 3 targets to get you there, to me that's I don't feel comfortable doing those things.
So you're more looking at building this as a cash lineup than a GPP lineup.
I think I am. I think I'm closer to building this as a cash lineup than a GPP lineup, and I understand that in 2-game slates you need to get uber contrarian, but that's just sort of my leaning towards it. Again, when it comes down to actual roster, construction, I start going over who I can actually fit into what lineups. That could completely change. Sometimes you may need to find that value because you just can't go and spend, $7,000 per player or whatever. So, but that's sort of the way I'm leaning kind of at the moment here. I think the hardest decision is going to be what defense do you play? Because all of these teams can score. All of these teams give up points. I think you pick. I don't know. I was gonna say I think you picked the Chiefs or Patriots because of the weather. You don't want to get in that track meet in the dome, and then it's do you just punt with the Patriots at 2,100 and going against the best offense in football? Because it's going to be 0 degrees, or do you go with the Chiefs? I mean, I don't know. I think it's an interesting question to have there.
It is. We actually kind of discussed this on the show a little bit today. Patriots 28 takeaways to 27 for the Chiefs. I gave for DFS purposes, I gave the tilt over to the Chiefs for the special teams. Once you get Tyreek Hill returning punts, it's always rock solid. But then again, I mean, Cordarrelle Patterson has been really good at running back kickoffs too. Although I haven't seen
the Chargers had to sign a specialty kicker last week,
right? Yeah,
so afraid of him, and that guy couldn't even kick it in the end zone anyways. So
I know. How funny was that? He specializes in touchbacks, and yet he's blooping it to the 30.
Yeah. Whoops.
So I'm on that with you also. As far as the defense goes, I kind of tilted a little bit more towards Kansas City just as the home team there. But they both do a great job of stripping the ball from the opposition, from the ball carrier. And I think it's kind of a toss-up there. What's the point? What's the cost differential there? Patriots are 21. What are the Chiefs?
25.
Yeah, I mean that That could be the difference maker right there, actually.
I just made a pretty good lineup that I'm happy with, actually.
Oh, I'd like to hear it.
I'd run it down. So, spending down at quarterback, I went with Goff.
Okay.
I have James White at running back, Todd Gurley at running back, Brandon Cooks, Julian Edelman, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Alvin Kamara in the flex, and the Patriots defense.
So you get Gurley and Kamara in there, plus Travis Kelce.
And Brandon Cooks.
See, that's... What the hell's going on with the pricing there?
Like I said, I thought I was going to have to get a little creative, but I mean, I fit in Goff, White, Gurley, Cooks, Watkins, Edelman, Kelce, Kamara, using the Patriots defense.
That's chalky as fuck, dude.
I
don't mean to use the bad language here, but it kind of is.
I don't disagree, but I mean, all of those players have ceilings higher than Kirkwood.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean,
the quarterback position, maybe is another spot. Maybe you try to differentiate a little bit. Because I think Goff's going to be so chalky. So maybe you could spend down somewhere and spend up on, Breeze or something like that. But I was definitely surprised being able to click through some of these players and using, again, the Patriots defense could be a negative. It probably could be. But the ceilings of guys like Gurley, Kelce, Kamara, and all those are impressive. And I'm okay. And you're going to have to at least have players against your defense, I think, on the slate. Like, don't, there's sort of sometimes you're like, oh, I can't play X because I have their defense. It's like, well, in the NFL today, nobody really throws shutouts anymore. So, you can have a player against.
Nobody throws a shutout in football. They do it in baseball.
It's true. Well, I mean, it's the terminology. You understand what I'm saying?
No, actually, I don't. It's like when somebody says that Alvin Kamara's on a pitch count. I don't really understand what that means either.
It's true. It's a good point.
Sorry, I'm gonna take that one to the grave, babe. I'm gonna ride it like a pony to the glue factory.
It's just like a common terminology for baseball that everybody loves. I don't know. I agree. So yes, that's sort of how I'm looking. I mean, you can get creative, obviously with these things because it's there. To me, these are all lottery tickets, anyways. Like, this isn't a thing where like your hours of research, in my opinion, are going to be the separator. You have like 3 players from each team that are really going to do anything on offense, and you have the quarterback. So
right,
mix and match if you want. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and find the cornerback wide receiver matchup that suits you, that's fine. But now you're also dealing with like the weather variables. Like, you have 2 completely different scenarios in weather. One's in a dome and one's playing in 0-degree weather. So like, to me, these are lottery tickets. I say it a lot when we talk about DFS, basketball and live stream on these like smaller slates. Don't blow your bankroll. Get creative with a couple of lineups, and hope you hit. So I know everybody likes to jump in on these tournaments, and they're super fun. And everybody at some point in time is probably going to be cashing, and it's just the one little thing. It would be cool if they like allowed you to bring back kickers for this maybe or something like that. Because go to the showdown slate, I guess, and do that.
Or at least kind of give you like they do with basketball on FanDuel. And you drop your lowest score.
Yeah. Or like make it creative. Like, I don't know, throw like multiplier spots in, like have it all be, positions and be like, all right, like this running back position is your 1.5x play and this running back is your whatever. And like that way, like people aren't going to be on all the same players. There won't be so many ties. If you have 3 wide receivers, have each wide receiver be a different multiplier and build it that way or something. Just, and that way you'll have more creativeness. Because then at least there's like a little more strategy to it, I think,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Like tiering the wide receivers so that you've got, 1x, 2x, 1x, 1.5, and 2x for each one of those guys.
Right.
And then do something like, your utility spot is almost like a captain's kind of piece there.
Something like that, because as I said, there's going to be, like you said, it's chalky. It's like, you're right. Pretty much all of those players are going to be like 60% owned. It's just, what are you going to do? They're the only ones that are productive on these rosters, unless you do go ahead and like throw a Cordarrelle Patterson in there and maybe he breaks one for you or something like that. It's just, he'll be the contrarian play, but if you play him, he does nothing, you're losing because everybody else is 60% owned. So.
Very interesting points, Jonathan. Very interesting points.
I gotta send an email over to DraftKings. They're in Boston. I actually work down the street from them, so maybe I'll go knock on their door and be like, "Hey, I have an idea."
I think they're a little tied up right now trying to sort out the disgustingness of their live betting contest.
You know, that was their first time. I'll give them, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm turned off, I'm never going to use them again. Like, give them a chance. You know, like, yes, it's a very unfortunate thing, and they definitely need to be quicker. And I've sort of had similar experiences in other things where, like, slate's closed, like, all right, I want to play the next slate. And it's like, we can't because they just don't process quick enough. They'll learn from it. They'll get better. It's brand new to them. You know, I'm not ready to jump ship like a lot of people I saw on Twitter with their, you know, faux outrage there, like flipping out.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. You know what? I'm worried about with this whole situation because, yeah, I mean, listen, you know what? Beta test. I know you want to be the first ones out there and you want to, you know, have this big contest. And,
it seemed early for me too.
Yeah, it was definitely early. They rushed it out, and they ended up with this kind of an issue, and that's going to be a problem for them. What I'm worried about is the backlash from, you know, all the anti-wagering, sports wagering people who are out there who are fighting against it at the state level, where all of a sudden now it's like, well, you've got this class action suit right now against DraftKings because they weren't treating their contestants equally.
Did they open a class action? That makes sense. I figured they would. But
they did. That's what I said. You know, it's so funny because I said it on the air today, and I was like, you know, all it takes is for one guy to sit and complain, and he did, and he filed suit. Yep. And as soon as one guy files suit, there's an ambulance chaser out there who's got the paperwork all fired up, ready to go for a class action.
Oh, I was in that contest. Let me go back in there and, you know, get it up. No, I hear you. Big news in Massachusetts today was that the governor announced that they're proposing legislation to legalize sports wagering. So it's coming. I mean, they can't argue it. All the sports leagues now realize, you know, they had that come to Jesus moment that they can't fight it anymore. They're just going to be part of it as opposed to fighting it. And, you know, they're all starting to agree, you know, with certain casinos and getting sponsorships and stuff. So sports betting is coming whether they like it or not. And I kind of always was, you know, with the government controlling what you can and can't do. You know, I was online poker player, you know, like everybody else was probably. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, you can't do that anymore. It's like, well, why not? It's my money. So, you know, regulate it, tax it, do whatever you got to do, make it legal, and, you know, people are going to play. So soon. I don't have to drive to Rhode Island anymore.
Because nobody wants to go to Rhode Island.
It's true.
It's a suburb of Massachusetts. It's a suburb of Boston.
It's 45 minutes.
It's like Philadelphia, man. It's like Boston South.
Yeah.
I'm from the Northeast, dude. I know all about it.
So Como said he's going to get New York to pass it too. So if you ever go back to New York,
everybody wants to jump on it. It makes complete sense to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, something like this with DraftKings is definitely going to leave a sour taste in some alarmist's mouth. And I don't mean that as like a play on words for fantasy alarm. I mean it as more of like, just, you know, you get a whole bunch of Chicken Littles in this world, and the sky's falling,
You know, they went through this when that whole ownership scandal happened. Everybody's like, see, it's a scam, it's a this and that. They regulated it, they figured it out, and here we are today, and it's better than ever, or more popular than ever, we'll say. I wouldn't say it's better, but it's more popular than ever.
Yeah, it's more popular than ever. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. All right, let's talk real quick. Point spreads here on these games. You've got the Chiefs, who are favored by 3 at home. I haven't even looked at the recent over-under on that one. I'll tell you right now, it is going to be 55.5 in most places here. So talk to me, John. Your pick here, New England with the points or no?
I'm going, first of all, 55.5 in a 0-degree game. I'm going to go with the under.
Agreed.
We'll hit that. We'll hit that one first. And this is really where the question is, like, do I believe that the Patriots team we saw last week is the Patriots team we'll see this week? And my gut says they're going to lose this game, so I'm going to put my money on them winning because my gut has been wrong on them all season long.
So you're taking the Patriots and the points, and you're going with the under.
Yeah. +3, under 55. They're +130 where I'm looking right now. I won't promote the website, but money line, if you're at 3 points, if you believe the Patriots are actually going to win the game, just take the +130. They're just, that's how I feel.
I would actually, I would probably, I mean, if I'm betting on an offshore site, I'm definitely buying that extra half point and taking the Patriots there.
The 3.5, yeah, 3.5 makes sense.
I would do that. I would buy that extra half point and take the Pats. I'm with you on the under here as well. I like that. On the other side there, Rams. I'm taking the Rams plus 3.5 against the Saints. I like that extra hook. And the over under on this one here. Man, I'm going to actually, because it's the dome, because it's the controlled environment, because we saw these two teams, Cooper Kupp or no Cooper Kupp this time, it was like 45-35 was the final score the last time. So I'm going to take the over on this one, along with taking the Rams and getting 3.5.
Yeah, no, I like both of those plays. When I first saw the spreads, the immediate thing that came to my head was teasing. Tease it up 6. You get the Rams at 9. You get the Patriots at 9. I thought that was, just an easy. I feel like these games are going to be competitive enough that 2 scores isn't going to really be it. So I think the Rams at 9, Patriots at 9 were good bets if you're going to tease. And then you can tease the totals too if you really want to get creative. Do a 14 tease. You get it all at 6 down or 6 up, and makes sense.
So what's your final call on that game?
I'm going with you. I think the Rams plus 3.
3.5,
yeah, 3.5, yeah. And I'm going to go over the 57.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's going to wrap it up here. Fantasy Alarm live stream. For all you DFS guys out there, I will have write-ups for both games plus example lineups on I'll do the write-ups for the playbook on Saturday, and you'll get lineups on Sunday morning before the games start. Final thoughts, John, or are you good?
I wish the games were earlier.
I'll talk to somebody for you.
Yeah, I just we having to wait till late Sunday afternoon for me. It's just like you wake up on Sunday, football's coming. I just like pace around the house, and just wait, drive my girlfriend crazy.
Well, maybe your girlfriend should give you like a honey-do list for stuff to do before the game starts.
That's what Saturdays are for.
That is really what Saturdays are for, aren't they? My wife's going out of town for the day.
No. Then we lost him. Howard. Is he gone?
Yeah, lost? Oh, well.
Oh, you're there. You're there. You're back.
Let me just.
You were just and then you're here. Maybe it was me. So you have a free house? Is that what you're saying?
I have a free house, baby. House party at the Benders. Here it comes.
No pants for Howard this weekend. Good for you.
Howard doesn't wear pants anyway.
It's true. King of the castle, right?
Yeah. King of the castle, master of my domain.
Yep.
That's going to do it for us here. Big thanks to Matt Sells for producing. Always a pleasure talking to Jon Impemba. Guys, thanks for tuning into the Fantasy Alarm live stream. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.